Good morning, good morning. We are here for another episode of Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and this is the show where I talk all things pop culture, my research on grief and media, and I answer your advice questions. Today, we have a wonderful, incredible guest. It's the first guest ever for Grief Support Group, which is kind of crazy. Okay, wait, what mic are you on?
I'm on, I don't know, it says guest, but I'm
guest
on...
two, I think.
Guest two, yes.
Let's try that out.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, can you hear me? Test.
Okay, there we go.
Look at that.
Yeah,
wow.
So what, okay, we don't need to talk about the sound quality.
Okay. Sounds crispy, if I'll say.
I'm like, let's get to the meat and bones because you have to leave for work.
Meat and potatoes?
Oh.
There's still meat on them bones.
Oh my god, wait, your voice is so loud. Okay, well, today we are joined by a very special guest. It couldn't be anyone else, really. You are Jack Molmud, and you are husband of Grief and Media.
Yes, number one fan.
And number one fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which do you identify as more in life, husband or number one fan?
Husband. Because
okay.
my job is to love and support you.
Wait, that's nice.
Yeah.
But specifically...
But that's also the job of a fan. A number one fan is to love and support. So I think it goes hand in hand. I can't be a husband without being a fan. Anybody who's a husband of a project and not a fan, you're not doing anything.
Do you feel like you have, like, you both know me well, and do you feel like as a fan there's like a parasocial? Like, do you is there like multiple versions of me? Like, do I have like eras? Like, do you see like, what do you see?
I think you're constantly diverging between your on-air presence and your personal presence, which is very much the same. Some people have an on-air presence that is very much different from their everyday life. I feel like yours is more of a Venn diagram that's basically merged together.
Okay, so it's almost the same.
Yeah.
So what's one thing about me that I do on this show that I'm not like in real life? See, that's
hard to answer because I feel like it's just...
I feel like I'm the same.
Yeah, it's just the same qualities you have in your everyday life, just accentuated.
Yeah, I just find sometimes I have like a particular like radio voice. I was telling you, like, it's like when I'm in the car, I use it when I'm on the way to Grief Support Group, and then I talk in that way, and then sometimes it's hard to like get out of it. Like, I'll talk in a very specific way, whereas I feel like if I'm talking casually, I don't always talk in this way.
Yeah, I feel like in my line of work too, that's hard to divide as well, because
yeah.
I feel like in being on air and being an on-air person, like, I feel like it could almost change the way that you talk if you're not careful, which that shouldn't be that way. It should be how you normally talk, but I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing that we accentuate a little bit more or enunciate a little bit more in our words and entertain a little bit more.
It's good because sometimes you tell me I'm being like quiet when that's not the case. Okay.
Well, God forbid I can't hear.
One thing I have to tell y'all is that me and Jack... Okay, so we're doing this episode for two reasons. One, we're going to spend a lot of this episode talking about the show on Netflix called Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. So that will be the media / I guess the research component of today's show, but it's going to take up a bulk of today's show. Then we also have an advice question, which Jack will have to leave for work, so it'll just be us girls left, just literally me. But I will be answering a question someone sent in about being torn about marriage and kids. So that'll be great. But first, yeah, we have to do a little intro to Jack. And we're doing this episode, the second reason why, is because this is our kind of anniversary, like, episode. On Monday, on 4/20, it was our 3-year wedding anniversary, which is crazy, and we actually didn't do anything. This is the celebration.
Yes.
Because it's just been busy.
Well, it's on brand if you think about it. Literally,
yes.
Our second date was me going on your podcast.
Exactly. So this is exactly for the true fans of dating, or at least trying. This is par for the course.
Yes, it feels on brand. I mean, I feel like people go like all out for anniversaries and Valentine's Day, and Alex and I just... We're not like that. No. We look at each other, we smile, and we say we're going to do things. We're going to be like, oh, let's go get pho.
We are doing that because I'm in the mood for it.
Okay.
We're doing that later this week.
Yes, I agree.
I guess it is late. Today's Thursday.
I think Alex and I have almost as much fun planning stuff and fantasizing about stuff as actually doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although... I want to we need to do our travel plans. We like talking about like, oh, we're going to do these travels, and then we haven't booked anything yet.
No, and flights keep getting more and more expensive because really of everything that's happening. So, yeah,
But it's gonna be good. Okay, so so this is the anniversary special. One housekeeping note that I wanted to share is that my video series called Grief and Media Project, as part of Grief and Media, is officially, I feel like last week I said, oh, it's coming next week. Okay, I lied, whatever, God forbid. I spread some misinformation on my own show. But it is officially coming next Monday, the very first episode of the Grief and Media Project. For those who don't know, this is my show, my video series, where I interview people about the media that helps them understand and cope with grief. So we recorded an episode that's going to serve as like episode 1 / like an intro episode. And then we recorded another episode with very special guests. We're recording another episode this week. It's going to be great. Jack, do you have, because Jack, here's the thing. Nepotism is okay when I do it. Okay. So Grief and Media as a whole, as an umbrella, like I am the CEO, right? Like we could say I'm the president.
Editor
I am
Grief.
Editor in Grief, as shout out to Zach St. Clair and Lexi. Wait, did she change? No, she didn't change her last name. No. So shout out to them because they called me Editor in Grief, although I think it was Zach who wrote it. That's why I shouted. Lexi. That's his handwriting, I'm pretty sure. Lexi must have much cuter handwriting.
Both credit.
We'll give them both credit. But anyway, they called me Editor in Grief, and I really liked that. But anyway, so nepotism is good when I do it. So Dory, our cat, is employed as our mascot. She doesn't get any money, but she lives under our roof rent free.
She wouldn't know what to do with money.
No. Although I think she would spend it very, very responsibly.
Yeah.
and then you are now the producer and the editor of the Grief and Media Project. So for those who are excited about it, but those who aren't in this room who are excited about it, what's like one preview you want to give for the Grief and Media Project launching on Monday?
It's a raw look into not only a great record store that has VHS, DVD, music, books, vinyls, CDs, and a cool vibe, but it allows the visitors to really be intimate in a setting to talk about how those forms of media help them cope and understand the grief that they've gone through in their life with a great host such as Alex.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. So we're excited. That's coming. Okay. And I wanted to share one more story before we get into our episode. We're going to take our first music break. Then we'll get into something very bad is going to happen. But I wanted to share this because this is actually something I wanted to share on a previous episode and I never did. But can we discuss like
the economic state of the world right now?
Bro! Okay, wait. But can we
get out?
But can we actually discuss like 2 weeks ago, Jamba Juice had the special, okay? And Jack and I both grew up loving Jamba Juice. We lived on the East Coast for a bit. We moved back to California. One of our initial stops
it was like day
when
2.
We were here. It was like day 2 was Jamba Juice. And why are we spending $13 for a smoothie for apples and greens? It just makes no sense to me.
Or an Orange C booster.
With kale added, mind you. Disgusting. But anyway, delicious. So Jamba Juice had a special where it's like it was National Acai Bowl Day or something. And so they had a special where they had their acai smoothie for $3 and they had their acai bowl normally like $15 for $5. So Jack and I went to Jamba Juice and we went and purchased it, and we're like sitting in the car eating our acai, and we're like our acai bowls because we did make that decision. It felt like the better deal. It's like for that, like, yeah, I want the bowl rather than the smoothie.
You're paying a $2 extra for a $5 bowl, or was it $6?
No,
I think it was $5. You get not only the acai and likely the
nothing
same
should
amount,
cost over $5.
The same amount of acai that's in your smoothie with bananas, granola, honey, strawberries, blueberries.
Excellent.
I accidentally hit the mic.
Oh, I thought there was like an earthquake.
Yeah, no, I was getting really animated about the fresh fruit.
Yes,
I mean, fresh fruit, cheap, good quality fruit is hard to come by.
Why do you go to Safeway now and like a single strawberry is like $6? It's just, it makes no sense to me. So this was the better deal. So we're eating our acai bowl and we're like, wait, we should go to another Jamba Juice location now and go get
the same deal because it said limit 1 per customer.
So then we drive to the other Jamba Juice in the area and we go get smoothies too. But we really had to make sure like none of the acai was in our teeth because like acai like stays in your teeth. Like our lips were kind of purple.
We were just going to show up to the next Jamba Juice with like acai all over our clothes and mouths and they're just going to look at us and be like, no.
But I remember then we were there and we had to wait like 30 minutes because they were like out of acai.
Yeah, it was awkward.
So then so we did that. It was successful. So $8 each for like double the portion of acai. Like I didn't finish it. Honestly, I only had like two.
I was
like a few sips.
I was intoxicated with acai.
Yeah, it was actually a lot. So that's why they should just have that deal all the time.
But then I got an email the next day saying they were extending the deal to like the end of the month or whatever.
Which I think we forgot to go. But the next day, I think we were like, we thought about it. I was doing my like 15-minute like quick scroll of Twitter because again, I don't want to be on Twitter, but like I see like Big Brother and Survivor stuff and like The Summer I Turned Pretty, like so. I was like, why are you making a face?
I just scratched my nose with this thing.
Jag, you can't scratch your nose with like, okay. Anyway, so he just scratched his nose with like the dongle. That's like, the cord dongle. You actually really can't do that. Anyway, so I see this tweet from Wendy's and they're like, go to Wendy's today only, and you get a free Frosty and free fries, like no purchase necessary. So I was like, Jack, let's go to Wendy's and get free fry and free Frosty, no purchase necessary. So we go in the drive through and we're at the speaker. So we're looking at the board and we saw that like there are Frosties now that are like they're trying to do what McDonald's no longer can, which is have affordable like what McDonald's and what Dairy Queen no longer can, because Dairy Queen in the Bay Area is also like $15 now, which is so effed up.
Also, like McDonald's per person is like $15.
Yeah, and if you get half the time the ice cream machine isn't even working, and it's gonna be like $6 or $7 now for a McFlurry. It's blasphemy.
And McDonald's is straight up booty.
Well, I've never heard you say that.
Well, I can't curse.
Yeah, but the McFlurry is good. Like, let's be
real. The hot
real.
and spicy McChicken.
Well, yeah, okay, that's off topic. Yeah. But anyways,
it is totally. We're talking about McDonald's. What do you mean?
Well, so then we're looking at the Wendy's menu before we order, and we saw that Frosties now you can get like a bunch of stuff in it. Like you can get like the chocolate sauce. You can get like Snickers in it. You can get like whatever, all these different things, right? And so we go we're at the intercom like ordering, and Jack's driving, so Jack's the one ordering, and he's nervous that it was like a fake tweet or something. Like
I wasn't.
Yeah, you were hesitant. You were like can we
I just want to show up to the drive and be like, yo, let me get that free deal. Let me get that free food.
So that you trying to have decorum then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were like we'll do the free Frosty and free fry. And they were like, okay.
They were like one each. And so that's what confused me. So I was like, okay, one each. So I was like, okay, we'll just do the Frosty. And then we pull up and they have our Frosties ready to go. And then Alex was like, no, it's a free Frosty and a fry. So then I asked him, I was like, can I get the fries too? Like at the drive. So I had to tell the person. I really like.
No, that's
at the drive-thru in front of a real human being. I had to say, actually, can I get the free fries in addition to the free shake?
But no, they were already going to give it to us. That was what it was. But I feel like you're forgetting a big part of this. When we're at the intercom, like just getting our free Frosty by you were like, can we get one of the like special Frosties?
Oh yeah, as if like the special Frosties would be part of the free deal. And he was like, no.
So that was that. I feel like that encapsulates like, that was it was a good week. It was a good week. Like, I feel like it was a good week. I feel like, to me, that's more important than, like, a fancy anniversary celebration. I'm
agree.
Still riding the high of that, actually. It was really good. Like, we literally had the acai, and then the next day we had, like, the Frosty situation. It was great.
Well, I mean, you like the simple joys in life, like, and little perks and free
Me
things.
or anyone?
No, you specifically value them a lot. Like when we flew to Rome, we got the cheapest flights, the cheapest seats to go to Rome.
Yeah, we were in the very back.
Very, very back. And like if it was a full flight, my back would have hurt. We would not have had a good time.
Yeah.
But this was also Alex's first time getting food on a plane.
Yeah, it was my first international flight.
And we had a couple seats missing, or a couple seats without people in there. And so I moved to another row. Alex was able to stretch out on the big 3-person row. They gave her food and she had her blanket and she looked at me and she was like, this is living.
No, it felt like first class.
Yeah, so like other people might not view that as like a great experience. They might be like, oh, I had to sit in the back, but at least I got to stretch out. You lived it. You lived it. You were like, this is first class. This is amazing. And you napped for like half the flight.
Jack, who wouldn't have found that glorious? I was stretched out. I had a brand new season of Selling the OC to watch. Literally, I had it set up on my iPad. My iPad I've received last year for free, mind you. I'm still on that high. And I'm laying down, like, it was, who wouldn't enjoy that?
People who like to spend money on riding like a higher class of flight.
And you know what?
But see, the problem is that you lose out on magical moments like that.
You lose out on magic. Sometimes the magic, although on our flight home from Italy, it was like us with just like a bunch of Italians, and I feel like I was like in the back row again, and me and Jack were able to like stretch out slightly. Like it wasn't as good, but like we each, like you went in the row next to, I forget how
I think on the flight home I had to sit in a single seat.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember, but like I just remember I was sleeping the whole time because I was so jet lagged. Like that's what they don't tell you. Actually, I think a lot of people say that, but I was really jet lagged. And I just remember like there'd be people like bumping into me and like speaking Italian.
Hella Italian, just like
they were just like
hella
all standing.
They were drinking wine in the back.
Yeah, they were all holding wine like they're at like our friend Brandon's house for a party. Like,
they were literally having a party. They were probably getting drunk.
Like they were all like standing in the back holding glasses of wine next to me, being all loud and bumping into me.
You know what I bet they wish that they could have done on that plane?
What?
Smoked a cigarette.
Oh, I'm sure.
They would have loved if like the pilot said it was okay, they probably would have sparked up right next to you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that was a long intro. Yeah. Here's the thing. I can't help myself but to do a long intro, but we're going to take a quick music break. And I have, we'll see the vibes, a song or two. And then we are going to get into our Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen conversation. So we will see you in just a moment.
You were hitting some dance moves.
What did you say?
I said you were hitting some dance moves.
Yeah, I was because...
I can tell you're happy. You're happy recording stuff, being here with somebody, and like
it's fun. What did you say? You said you should be a permanent fixture of this show.
Not a permanent fixture, just like a recurring cast member.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If the people enjoy it. If they don't, I don't take any offense.
And we'll see. We'll see what the people say. Okay, well, you are listening to Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and today we have a very, very special guest. And his name is Jack Molmud.
Hello.
And he is husband of Grief and Media Project. Okay, so we're at the part of the show now where we discuss something media or research or what have you. So today we will be discussing, because I've been teasing it for so long, it's literally one of my new favorite shows. We're discussing the show on Netflix called Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen.
Long title. And
I did assign homework for people to watch this show. So I hope everyone is caught up to the show. It is an 8-part, I don't know if it's a limited series or if they're going to have other seasons. It seems limited series to me.
I think it's a limited series looking at the director's past work.
Yes. Okay. Oh, yeah, because you really liked, what's it called? Brand New Cherry Flavor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's a limited series, and this show is about a man and a woman who are about to get married, and she has never met his family before. They've been together for 3 years. They're going to get married. Her mom is dead. Her dad is no longer in the picture. And she's entering a new family dynamic. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good teaser for it.
Yeah.
And so the first 2 episodes, and we're now entering spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen the show, maybe circle back. Mm-hmm. This episode will be online. Circle back and we'll discuss more. Or if you're listening online, whatever. I don't know. Last warning.
Turn off.
Yeah. And then come
yeah,
forth
make sure
again.
you listen back after you watch it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the first 2 episodes, you think this is going to be like, oh, the family's like creepy as F. Like, you think it's going to be crazy. Like, and then there's like a twist. And then there's like, okay, wait, there's like a sorry man situation. And he's like standing outside. And that's how like episode 2 ends, I think, once you realize the family is like actually chill. They're just like crazy, but they're not like crazy like in a they're gonna kill me way.
I thought it really did a good job at making you believe that the family was like the scary part of the show, almost so to the point where like the big reveal happens in episode 2 where the family's just crazy. And their mom's dying.
And she's dying of cancer. And so basically she was using their wedding as like her last hurrah before undergoing death by dignity.
Yeah, they do such a good job at showing that and making you believe that they were the evil people that you still kind of feel a little uneasy after Rachel, the leading woman, realizes that like they're not evil. I still felt a little uneasy. I still felt like that there was something unanswered.
It's really funny because I think looking back, so I've now rewatched it. I watched it, then I rewatched it, and then I'm in a second rewatch, third watch right now, like midway through. And I love it because you're so teased by it, but when you go back and watch the first 2 episodes, the family honestly is like normal. They're just like crazy personalities, but like they're completely it's like so funny.
The number one thing I noticed on the second rewatch, and I guess this could be a good segue into talking about the dynamics.
Yes. Well, I want to say real quick before you get to that, because since it sounds like you'll talk about our themes, the 3 themes from the show that we really want to discuss, and it's very apropos. Is that the word? Apropos?
I have no idea.
Whatever. It's very it's very good, relatable for this show, because I think so much of this show, Grief Support Group, is about love, life, death, grief, right? And I think those are the main themes of the show. The 3 kind of buckets we will be talking about when it comes to something very bad is going to happen is relationship dynamics, mortality, and then grief and trauma. So first, because it sounds like you're going to get into the relationship dynamics, so why don't you kick us off?
Well, just overall arching thing is that every time this is before the relationship stuff, so I just wanted to mention this as something that I noticed is that almost like once or twice an episode, every single episode, Rachel will smoke a joint.
Yeah.
She smokes a joint when she's driving. She smokes a joint
time.
always high, which I smoke weed. You know, like I'm not against it. I love weed. I think it's great. But I have noticed that almost every single, in my experience rewatching this on the second time, almost every single time she smokes weed, something weird either happens to her or she perceives something to be weird. And I think it's the show's trying to show us that she has a level of paranoia that exists throughout the show that may have led her to believe the family was weird, even though they were kind of in the beginning. But all the weird things that happen to her are exacerbated because she's high and probably paranoid, and she probably uses weed as a way to cope with all of her demons that she's had to cope with throughout her life, and this feeling of dread that kind of follows her. Using a substance to kind of keep that at bay, I think is kind of a recurring theme that I saw throughout the show.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because spoiler alert once again, but we're already way past that. But if she marries someone who is not her soulmate, she has a curse that has like passed down to her. This is how her mom died when she was born. Because her mom got married on the day she was born. But if she marries someone who is not her soulmate, she dies. And if once she's engaged, like you cannot reverse the curse once you're engaged. Like once you're engaged, it's full throttle. And so if she didn't get married to him by sundown, the curse gets passed on to his family, and that's
like if
what
she left him at the altar,
right? Yeah. And that's what ends up happening. But I think like that's an interesting point because like if that doesn't minimize like ultimately this curse, right? Because the curse was very much real, but like it sort of minimizes like. Or not minimizes, but it's like, I wonder what their relationship was like the whole time. If she was kind of like coping and self-medicating through like smoking. If like she didn't even realize how bad of a partner he was.
I think you see that very much in the first episode upon a rewatch. Like when the whole, like Alex and I literally decided to get married like in the car because I missed out on going to a work event. Yeah. And then because I missed out on that work event, we decided to get engaged.
There was a wedding at City Hall and we were like, wait, should we do that? Yeah. Let's get married. Okay, I guess we're engaged now.
So we are the king and queen of being like making decisions on the fly. But they were literally sitting in a diner And they didn't even seem excited about it.
No, I think they were already planning. I think
planning?
That's why they were doing the drive.
Okay. Well, I'll say you see this in the very beginning, how their relationship dynamic was before she found out about the curse, because I think that's really key to how the story ends, is seeing how their relationship from the beginning was a series of him almost dismissing her.
Yeah.
And being kind of a stupid boy. Like part of the relationship dynamic that I want to address, which I guess I'll do now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you notice from literally the first couple like minutes of the episode is that Rachel does everything for Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki's the main man in the show. He's the fiance. She does everything for him. She drives, which keep in mind, I'm all for the grand year of 2026, but like, I mean, with Alex, and if I was in any other relationship, I'm gonna drive. Like, I'm sorry. Like in the society we live in, the man has more privilege. Like, I'm gonna use that privilege to drive and take care of a woman.
Right.
You know, like that's just what you do. Like, and so him just sitting there being a goofball while she's driving, and in an area that she doesn't know. She's driving to his parents' place.
That's a good point.
Like, it's just a lot. And then she also like was talking about some supernatural stuff at the diner, that like she knew this kid that like could predict when people die or something, and then she felt like it was very real, like a very real thing, and he was just like, well, it sounds like a kid with a very active imagination.
Yeah,
which I think is foreshadowing.
So he like dismissed her very often.
And it's foreshadowing to later on in the show, because the whole reason how they met is because she felt like something very bad was going to happen when she was about to board a plane to go somewhere, and she was too petrified to go on the plane. Nikki comes out of nowhere and swoops her off her feet, and he basically tells her, I believe you, in that moment. But in reality, he didn't care. He just wanted to get with her and have fun with her because he just got dumped.
Well, and it's interesting too, like that first diner conversation where you see their dynamics before like anything bad happens, or I guess like if the bad thing being their relationship, LOL. But like, I think it's interesting because remember because we find out later that she is estranged from her father. She has not seen him in like 11 years or something like that. I forget the number, but anyway, she has not seen him for a long time. And like we find out later that Nikki invited her father to the wedding. And I thought it was interesting too, because she like mentioned in their diner conversation, I can't remember the exact like words that they said, but she said something like, oh yeah, like my mother's dead, blah, 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 whatever. Like I didn't even know her, which like we will get to when we talk about grief and mortality later in like 5 minutes. But he like, remember he got emotional and she was like, it's fine, I didn't even know her. Like she said that to him. It's like, if someone is talking about their experience with grief, why are you getting emotional? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like that Bible story about the woman, the widow who was like really crying in front of Jesus and Jesus cried with her. And like that's the whole thing about how Jesus wept.
Yeah, it's just like you don't need to cry. Like it's just
well, he called Jesus performative.
Well, I don't know much about Jesus, but in that moment he was being performative.
Yeah, because there was a crowd.
Yeah,
there was a crowd.
It's just like if someone is talking about their own experience, like sure, show emotion, but it's not about you. Like I just feel like that's like so lame, and I think he really made a lot of things about him, like in the relationship, and it's subtle things like that. But it's
like his mom using the wedding for her own personal gain,
right?
And just real quick on the relationship dynamic too, like she had to, when they found the baby crying in the car, she had to delegate to him what to do, even though she was really tripping out. Like she was like seeing all this bad stuff and stuff that was really like bringing up a lot of trauma for her. She was still delegating stuff to Nikki, and Nikki was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and like she never told him the thing she was going to, and we later see that his brother Jules, and that's his name, right? I don't know why I'm getting Jules and Jude confused, which is his son. But Jules and Nell, like, they are going through like a separation, but they're still married. And at the end of the movie, when the curse gets passed on to Nikki's family, like you see Jules doesn't die because he feels like he's with his soulmate, right? And so you see throughout the show, because that is the one good relationship that we actually see. Like literally everyone else dies except for that couple. And so the reason why they work is throughout the show, like they're actually communicating with each other. Like, and Rachel is not telling Nikki anything, like literally never tells him anything. And he doesn't seem to tell her much either, like throughout the show either. We obviously don't see his perspective on a lot of things, but they don't look like they're having deep conversations. Yeah. And well, too, every time they're together and they're having a quote intimate moment, like, because intimacy isn't just like sexual, it's also like obviously emotional and like confiding in someone and whatever, but like all their intimacy is very physical. Like they're always like kissing or hugging or doing all these things, and they're not actually like talking and feeling vulnerable in their feelings. is. And again, like, I just think the craziest part, and which is kind of obviously there's multiple climaxes in the show, but one of the big moments is episode 4, where she finds out how her mom dies and that this curse is going to happen to her if he's not her soulmate. And like, I think it's interesting how her and Jules obviously like saw that happen to her mom. So they're both like in the know and can be like emotionally vulnerable with each other about it. But like, they go back to the house and you see Rachel get into bed with Nikki and just like kiss him and not say anything. And then you see Jules get into bed with Nell and be like, so do you believe in curses?
That was definitely on purpose, like the juxtaposition. Like, they really wanted the audience to note that.
Right, absolutely. And so do you have anything else to say about relationship dynamics? Because I have something to say that could lead us into mortality, but wanted to ask first.
I think they almost use Nikki as a way to make Rachel believe that there's something sinister with the family. Because like, if Nikki was if Nikki was a better arbiter of like how his family is, how the dynamic is, how his brother and sister are crazy,
right,
Rachel wouldn't have walked into that situation being tripping out.
Right.
But he contributes to the sinister feeling because he's just like not being honest. Like, he's just not like, I don't know. Like, he's just not like an intimate person. So it contributes to that weird feeling that I
think he's both not being honest and no one's honest with him. Like, it seems like he, compared to at least Jules, I don't know about Portia, his sister, but at least compared to Jules, he has lived a very like charmed life. And I feel like charmed is what I say when people are like really privileged and haven't been through things. I feel like I love using that word. But anyway, like, Nikki has been very charmed. Like, he hasn't known the relationship dynamics, like
he's been shielded from everything.
He's been shielded like Jules, like even Jules seeing the sorry man when he was younger, like Portia believes in it and Nikki doesn't. Like, Nikki's like, oh, that's not real. And this is like a very traumatic thing that Jules went through because he doesn't have to. Whereas like, I think for Rachel, it was very easy for her to open up to Jules and to Nell because they were like emotionally vulnerable and had been through things in their life. And so I think like, not only is it like, oh, you lived a charmed life, like, what were we supposed to talk about? Because like, you have nothing, like, no life experience to talk about, but also like, you're not being open about it either. Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing because I'm remembering the moment. So basically, Jules, when he was a kid, seeing the sorry man ended up being because basically when Rachel was born, her mom died on the floor. Her dad was crying and ripped open her stomach and pulled Rachel out. And the entire time he's like yelling at her, I'm sorry, because she's dying. He has to save the baby. And Jules is like a little kid, and he's actually hiding under that bed and watching it all happen because he's stranded far away from home. So that's technically how him and Rachel met. They didn't know it at the time, but he saw her as a baby there. And so Jules is really trying to make sure that Rachel knows that Nikki is her soulmate. So like, he basically finds out that Nikki lied about how they met at the airport. And then in front of everybody at their engagement party, Jules is like to Rachel, you call that fate? How about how we met? That must be fate. And it like makes it seem like that they're like cheating or something. Like, and I get that feeling.
Okay, like, and low-key, in my first watch, I was like low-key shipping them, like very slightly.
Yeah, it kind of like has a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I know he's being weird and silly, but throughout the entire show, like, he'll do things that I feel like are a little bit flirty to Rachel.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I think it's just him being weird.
I think, yeah. But wait, one thing I want to say before, because I think I want to move into mortality now because it's already 9:40. But I wanted to say this too, where not to make it about us. Okay, wait, no, let me talk about the show and then I'll talk about the us thing. But like, so Rachel's dad, like, when he sees that her mom is dying, like, says, I'm sorry to save her, to save the baby, right? And I think about when Sun has already gone down, but like, they try to get Rachel to marry Nikki so it doesn't pass on, like, and all the family is there, but the sun's already down, so the curse has already spread. But you just hear Jules saying, I'm sorry, Rachel, I'm sorry. And the reason why he's doing that is because he wants to protect his son, Jude, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, a huge thing of like the soulmate of it all, I feel like we're so, like, as, I don't know, like, in our society at least, like, we are so, I think, hung up on the idea of like a soulmate. And like, in my opinion, I think what makes like a partnership work or like a romantic relationship work is like being like, okay, this is like my family now. Like, I feel like when we got married, it was never like a, oh yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, no one gets married saying we'll see what happens, but it was like, no, like, you're my family now. Like, we are building like this as a family. And so I think it's really interesting that like you're willing to do these things. Like, I mean, when you have this is going to sound stupid, and I don't mean this to sound like oversimplifying, but like you have a baby, you've never known that baby before, and you just decide, wait, this is my family. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, this is mine now. I'm never gonna, and I'm theirs. Like, I'm never gonna, I mean, if it's a good parent-kid relationship, but you're like, I'm what's the word? Like, without reservation, you will protect this being, right?
Yeah.
And I think when we get in relationships, it's not often conditional. I think it should be unconditional, but I think like a lot of romantic, which makes sense because like obviously there's like dynamics at play and like, but like I feel like it's like I love you unconditionally, just like I would a kid.
Unconditionally, you know? Is the word.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We got there. But like, so I think it's interesting to see like Jules protect Jude in that way, Rachel's dad protect her in that way. But then like your soulmate, quote, you're not going to protect in that way, and that's why so many people died. In once the curse got spread, right?
That's a good segue into the grief element, though. With that,
no, I want to move in mortality first, unless you have something to say, because I have a thing that goes from relationship to mortality.
Okay, well, we have limited time.
Yes, but I have something important to say.
So let's do it.
Okay, so there's this quote from episode 2, and I really think this quote is very interesting. The mom. So this was like the beginning of episode 2 when they're all at like breakfast or whatever and Rachel's feeling weird. The mom says this quote. She says, "In the right union, marriage can feel like immortality." And I thought that was really interesting because I think like mortality and immortality, like the kind of opposite ends, like I think of like a teeter-totter, is that what it's called? Seesaw. Like those are such opposite ends. It's like, how can you have one and whatever? And I think like Rachel got this curse, right? Where because she didn't marry him and it passed down to his family, she's now immortal. And like what is immortality? Like the guy who was the witness, right, was the immortal one before she became it, and the curse like passed to his family, and then she got it, and he was happy to die.
Yeah, he was miserable.
Yeah, he was miserable.
He was done.
And so it's like the mom is saying this, talking about her husband, and she's like, the right marriage is immortal, like immortality, but like she's unhappy in that marriage. Yeah. And so it's like, what is from experience? Yeah. So it's like, I don't think that's like a good thing. Like, I think you want a marriage to feel it's so special because it is like ultimately finite, right?
Yeah. I think that's the whole philosophical discussion of like why life is so much worth living is because you know you're going to die.
Yeah.
And like I mean, in my own personal life, that's really what motivates me is knowing that I'll never be this young again. And this is the oldest I've ever been. A little bit scary, but it's a little bit confidence boosting at the same time. And like, honestly, yeah, I feel like there's a huge philosophical debate that I feel like this show touches on a little bit in terms of like living forever.
Yeah.
That is just like, really makes you see that it's just so unnatural. It's just so unnatural to like have that like strive for perfection.
Right.
Like life isn't supposed to be perfect. Your relationship isn't supposed to be
and it's almost either. Like,
and if you overthink it, it's going to get worse.
You know, when you feel in like, because like when you're immortal, like a character in the show, like the witness, like it's almost like purgatory, like a little bit where you're like in this thing and you feel like purposelessness and like you're so like aimless. And I feel like when someone's in a marriage that's not right, like they feel very stuck and it probably feels like it lasts forever. Yeah. So it's like she was almost. Obviously, she didn't want the curse to spread, but it's like her choices were either death or he's my soulmate and he's not actually, or immortality. So it's like you literally, like, there's no right answer. But then I think about like the fox, and there were a lot of like dead foxes throughout the show, but in the like Bachelorette episode, like Nikki and Jules and the dad all went like fox shooting or fox hunting or whatever, and there was a fox that got like bit by the trap, and so the dad was like, "Oh, Nikki, like shoot it, like put it out of its misery." But then like later in the show, like one of the last scenes as Rachel is now immortal, and the curse got past his family, she's leaving like the townhouse, and you see that fox that Nikki, like, it got away from the trap.
Like chewed off its own leg.
It chewed off its own leg to get away. And like, she's free. The fox is free. But like, the messaging in the episodes before were shoot that fox, get it out of its misery. But it's like, why does he get to decide that? Why doesn't the fox get to decide that? So it's like, who knows if the fox is actually happier without its foot? But like, at least it has the opportunity to see if it is. You know what I mean?
It has its own agency.
And it has its own agency.
Yeah. I like that. I like that parallel. I think I was trying to figure out for a while what the fox meant, but now I know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because like, I still don't know what this means after watching it multiple times, but that fox she sees in the very first episode in the toilet, had like babies and was like dead with the babies
was that
in
her mom?
it. I think it was supposed to symbolize her mom. Yeah. I think that fox was symbolizing her mom, and then like the fox that got away with the leg was symbolizing her.
Or remember, as they were driving too, we saw a dead fox.
Yeah.
Like in the snow as they were driving. That could have been like saying like she's about to get trapped into the house. And,
yeah.
Like, the only way out is to chew her way out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, she didn't leave unscathed. I mean, she left becoming the new witness.
Yeah.
And then having to carry that burden. And who knows how long she's going to live. But at least she has some choice.
Right.
Now, at least she has some choice. And she's probably going to handle it better than the previous witness did. The previous witness was weird.
Yeah.
He was like peeking over her into the toilet. Like, and then, like, he was just like approaching her and being like, and he'd be like, are you sure he's the one? Like she would be more. I feel like she would be more straight up. She would tell them, "Look, there's this curse." Like,
my favorite scene is when she, like, I think it's in episode 4. Honestly, episode 4 through 6 are like so good. But like in episode 4, after she watches the tape of her mom dying, and she like goes to the bar, and he's like, the witness is like singing karaoke, and he's like, "You are my destiny." I love it. It's so funny. Yeah. But
I like that he was able to walk into the wedding completely like unnoticed. Like he's this massive man.
He was
just
like talking to like one of the couples, and he was like, "I like your coat. Can I have it?" They're like weirded out. Yeah. Okay, so now
you think he's Greek? I think he's like Croatian.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, so now we want to move into kind of talking about grief and trauma, because I feel like moving into that, like, she is now going to be a witness for like Jude's wedding and a witness for all these people down the line that are gonna get married in that bloodline. And I think it's interesting because it's like people have known this curse has existed for
500 years.
More than that, but in her family, I think that the witness was like 200 years old or something. So this has lasted so long. How has no one talked about it? And this is what happens when you don't talk about grief, because I think a huge part of grief is like what gets passed down too. And by not talking about grief, like continuing with people, it's only gonna, like, those talked about and like, not that wounds can be resolved, but like you can help heal them by discussing them. It's like what trauma gets passed down. You know what I mean? And so like her, like, Rachel's mom who died, her mom said to her, don't get married, like, don't marry him. And she was like, I don't know what she was talking, like, she didn't know what she was talking about, because the mom didn't talk about, they like didn't truly talk about it with her. And then obviously the dad didn't talk about it with Rachel, like, in a way that would help her. So it's like no one's discussing it. This is what happens when grief and death aren't being discussed. It continues to get passed down and like affect generations to come. And so it's like, I wonder if they'll actually talk about it with Jude, or will everyone pretend it didn't exist? You know what I mean?
Right. It's hard to see if that'll be carried.
Yeah.
Maybe
you love turning your head and not.
I like to look out the window as I'm talking because it helps me be reflective. But no, I think that leaves it up for interpretation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about that? I feel like I made a good point. But
you did make a good point. I feel like it kind of is a parallel to how we treat grief in society.
Yeah, because I can talk about that a little bit more, because I think in episode 3, you have that conversation between the mom who's dying from cancer and Rachel. And Rachel is saying, like, so she's saying, like, have you processed your death, or has anyone processed it? And the mom is like, have you processed, like, the death of your mom? Mm-hmm. And Rachel's like, oh, that happened before I was born. Like, it doesn't, or like, she dismissed it. And the mom goes, it doesn't go away. You didn't just suddenly exist. You came from somewhere, and when you die, you leave somewhere behind. There was nothing left. You are what's left. And I think that discusses like the way grief is like passed down too. Because it's like, yeah, it doesn't leave. It doesn't, that's like our offspring or whatever are what continues that like line.
I think it's a very good way to think about it too, because it brings it in more into a community kind of aspect, more than just because I feel like death inherently, I think, is, you think of it as such, it's a very selfish thing. Like, oh, look what happened to me. This person died. This is what happened to me. In terms of like, but you don't think about the impact that it has on like that person who left on you and like the other parts of your community and everything like that. So I feel like it was a good perspective there, and I feel like it really opened Rachel's eyes to like thinking about things further too.
Well, because it was interesting too, because Rachel was trying to coordinate this like conversation about the mom dying and like this grander like family moment, and like no one wanted to like talk about it and talk about the mom dying, because she was supposed to die after the wedding. She ended up dying on the wedding, but she was supposed to die that next day as her original plan was. And like, I think it's really interesting, and obviously it makes sense how the mom wanted to keep talking about dying, and she would talk about it casually. Like she had this conversation with Rachel, because Rachel came over to ask her, do you want fish or chicken? And then they had this whole conversation, and she was like, I'll have both. Why not? Yeah, wait, and like, I'm
so just really funny. Like, can you imagine if they went through with the wedding? There was no curse. They went through with the wedding, like Nikki and Rachel on their honeymoon, and the next day, like, Jules tells Nikki, "Oh yeah, mom died." Like, what was the plan? Like, was that really going to be the plan? Like, and then if I was Nikki, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but I feel like he operated in that way. Like I feel like he liked that no one told him anything, low key. Like, he tried to act like he didn't, but then he liked denying things. Like, even, I think it's interesting how they end up where he doesn't die after they get married. Like, because did he really believe they had a good relationship? And then he's like holding on to that bear that says like forever. And it's like,
he didn't
trying to hold on to like that hope of her. Like, I don't know. I found that like all interesting too. I think he liked to not know, even though he got mad. Oh, you didn't tell me about you guys cheat, or like mom cheating, or you didn't tell me this, or you didn't tell me that. But like, when push come to shove, I think he likes not knowing.
Yeah.
I think he likes living in denial.
So why don't you think he died?
I feel like he must live in denial. He must have really thought she was his soulmate.
He was probably really closed off to it all.
I think he gets really love struck. Like, we learned he had girl Nikki that he was with the day before Rachel and him met, and then we know he was with Nell before. So it's like what we know of him is he's constantly in relationships, and I think if he's in denial and not vulnerable with people, like, he also probably latches on to these new relationships without really like getting to know who they are. And it's more like his idea of what it should be. So he probably had this like really idealized version of like who Rachel is and what their relationship was. And so I'm sure he really believed in that, because like, does he have enough like things to compare it to in life experiences? So he really believed that
she was his soulmate, which
I think
is why he didn't die.
That's my theory.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think I was struggling to understand like what the like, do you actually have to be their soulmate, or you just have to believe it?
I think you have to believe it, which people on Reddit were like, I hate that, it should be actual. But like, who gets to determine that? God? Like, who's God? You know what I mean?
I agree.
God doesn't know about my relationship.
I mean,
like,
the term soulmate, I think, is really like just created by humans.
Yeah, it's a social construct. Soulmate is a social construct. So I like that you get autonomy over that, because I think if you believe it and you choose to nurture that, and again, you choose to love that person unconditionally, that's your soulmate.
Then what's the difference between that and some intrinsic supernatural soulmate?
Exactly. So I liked that. I was surprised that people online said, it should be.
People think two-dimensionally.
Yeah. Like Nikki.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the whole like, people think like life is like a movie. People think that life has good versus evil,
right?
And there's no such thing as good versus evil.
Yeah, for sure.
I could elaborate, but I'm not.
Okay.
I
could elaborate. I don't want to.
Yeah, I choose no.
Okay, well, do you have any other things? I feel like we could continue talking about this. One last thing I wanted to say. I just started this and I actually forget why I started this. One last thing I wanted to say is that Nikki and Rachel were both, are you listening? Mm-hmm. Nikki and Rachel were both shielded from their mother's deaths and from mortality. But it was in very different ways. Like, Rachel was shielded from her mother's death And that led to her being in this situation.
Right.
If she wasn't, she wouldn't be in this situation. She wouldn't have gotten married. Her gut knew. She said she didn't want to get married to him, but she decided to do it because he wanted it. Like, she literally deep down knew not to do it. And then for Nicky, he's shielded from his mother's death and his mother's mortality. And as a result, he kind of like made it about him, even though the mom was making it about her, like making the wedding like her like funeral. But like, yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a parallel. I mean, I feel like he almost in a way has like the love struck, like romantic ideals of life that his dad has.
Yeah.
With his same selfishness that his mom has.
Mm-hmm. Well, the dad's selfish too. I thought it was really interesting in episode 3, and this is so like in my mind because we just rewatched this one, but like they're all doing where they can't even look at the mother, they have to look at that like wooden thing to like give their goodbyes to their mom, and like Nicky and the dad both made it entirely about them. Like the dad was like, I'm sorry for that time in Santorini when like blah blah blah. He was like, I'm sorry for like not showing up for your birthday party. It's like, okay, who cares? Like, if I'm dying, I don't want you to be like, oh, that time in Santorini when I like walked off without, like, it's just weird. Like, why not make it about her? And Nicky too was like, you are this to me, you are this to me. And it's like, okay, but who is she, period, without the like framework of who she is to her youngest son or to her husband.
Yeah.
It's lame. It's lame. And it's the dad and Nicky both truly believed that those were their soulmates, because I feel like anyone could have almost fit that role because it was their idea of what it should be. Whereas like people like, I think Jules really loves Nell. Like, I think, I guess that was the only good relationship, but it's like you kind of see how he treats her. Like he really knows her, even when he says to Nell like, oh, Rachel's all like dark and mysterious, I bet you like that. Like, it's like he knows her preferences, he knows what she likes, even something as simple as that. They talk to each other, whereas like all the other relationships, like either more likely, because I feel like gender dynamics also play a role, is that like the man can like make the relationship whatever he wants and it's going to work for him because in society it just works for him, whereas the woman is the one who's like tortured and stuck.
Right Definitely. I mean, you see that with how they talk about the mom too. Like the women in the family recognize the mom and like who she is.
Yeah.
Like even Rachel talking about like the way that you were a mom to Nicky is like what I strive to be.
Right.
It's cool to note.
Okay, well, it is 10 o'clock. I have an advice question to get to. Do you have any last words for the grief support group audience?
No, I think the last thing I wanted to say is like back to the Jules and the Sorry Man thing, just like at the very, very end when everybody's literally like 120 people are just dying and blood pouring out of their nose and eyes
90, 95, 96 actually.
And Jules' son, has this this really powerful parallel scene where he is hiding and like has his hands over his head while everybody around him is just dying in the same way that when Jules was Jude's age, seeing Rachel's mom dying in that way.
Right.
And Jules has this powerful moment where he runs through the crowd of bloody people to rescue his son and bring him back, was almost in a way of him standing up to the demons that have plagued him for his life.
Right.
To go protect his son, I think was a powerful, and it gave me chills, honestly. Like him overcoming the fear to go rescue his son and bring him back.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because it's like you can't shield your kids from trauma. Like, trauma is always going to happen. Like, grief is always going to happen. Death is always going to happen. That's just life. But like being able to have these discussions and protect them as best you can is like what you can do as a parent.
Yeah, you can't change the past, but you can fix the future.
Yeah. On that note.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything you want to say just in general?
No, it's just I'll probably hang out for the advice question.
Oh, you're staying?
Yeah, too much traffic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna, for those who don't know, there are some things that I could do for work around San Francisco, but I can't make it in time because there's traffic. So I'm gonna ask my coworker if they can make it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we will take a bit of a music break, and then we will see you for our advice question in just a moment. Hello, and welcome back to Grief Support Group. I am your host, Alex Piscatelli, and we are here with a special guest.
That was a really smooth fade out.
Wait, was it really?
It was really smooth. It felt professional.
Well, professionals only here.
Yeah, that's true.
So we are at the point of the show where we ask our advice questions. And today, because we knew it was going to be a long day, long guest. I didn't mean it in a weird way. Well, anyway, we have an advice question to get to. And so if you have an advice question for a future episode, you can ask anonymously at the link bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, so let's get into our advice question of the week. Are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And remember, give whatever. It's fine.
Okay. You don't need to prep me. I'm not. Do you think I'm new?
Okay, so let's get right into it. So this person said, I'm feeling really torn about marriage and kids. The more books I read written by women, the more it's clear that basically most women throughout history regret getting married and having kids. Even if they won't say the words, I regret it, everything always gets way harder on the woman. Also, you lose both your first name and last name, parentheses, quote, mom, and then traditionally taking the man's last name. So, how can anyone agree to losing your whole identity when millions of women that came before us are a testament to the fact that it's most often a permanent downgrade in the quality of life? But that being said, I love kids. I think they're fantastic, and I'd love to have some of my own. And I love my boyfriend, and I do see, quote, forever with him. So I'm losing it with 12 exclamation points. Help. Okay, so I really love this question. I actually really love this question, and I'm really glad we're talking about it during the Something Very Bad is Going to Happen episode.
There's a couple facets to it.
Okay, so I think first and foremost, it seems like you do want kids, and you want some of your own, and you maybe want them with your current boyfriend. But also there's the whole historical, this being bad on women. And even now in many ways it is. And I think this is very true. And I think no matter what we do, everything we do is in the context of everything that came before, which do you think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
You exist in the context.
But it is true. Everything we do is going to be defined by and shaped by and just understood by everything that came before. So yes, marriage and having children in many ways negatively impacts women.
You got to think about how most men operate.
Yeah, because a lot of men are really so sucky. They're really bad.
Well, I think it comes to fruition when they turn into parents too. In many cases. I mean, I think a lot of issues with men that I've seen is that there's a lot of unaddressed familial issues and men who have been babied throughout their lives.
Yeah.
And then expect the same. And then almost in a way that when they become a father, it doesn't translate at all to a parental role. It translates more into now the woman has two kids.
Right.
The baby and then the father.
Right. Because I think there's two issues here. There's the marriage of it and then the kids of it. So let's talk about the marriage aspect of it first, right? Because yes, I agree. And but I think in many ways, you get to define what that is for you. And I think when people say oh, never get married before talking about these things, and it'll be finance stuff and what you your shared understandings of how to manage finances, your shared of understandings of how you want to treat your kids when you have them, stuff like that. And I'm are people getting engaged or thinking about getting engaged before having these conversations? Mm-hmm. I'm that's the first misstep that as woman we can take is being with, if you're someone who's with men, being with a man who won't talk about those, you can't talk about those things with. I think what leads to in a relationship, in a heterosexual relationship dynamic, to it feeling a repeat of what so many women have gone through in history, is not being able to be completely open about things. And because I think I don't know, low key, when you think about power dynamic, inherent power dynamics, I don't think we're in a time where there's inherent power dynamics in a coupling, but I think when you can't communicate with your partner, that leads to an inherent power dynamic, because I almost feel the lack of communication and the lack of definition of what your partnership looks like always lends to the man versus the woman if it's a man and woman relationship. You know what I mean? If you guys aren't talking about things, then the man probably assumes you're going to take his last name, assumes you were going to be the one to take care of the kids, like assumes these things because like I think a lot of men do assume stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think our idea of marriage is leads to that way of our sorry. I'm going to talk in front of the microphone now. Our idea of marriage and society's idea of marriage leads to that way of thinking that you fear having to take somebody's last name. You fear that those rules will come into play. When in reality, these are conversations that every couple should be having.
Yeah, like immediately. I just feel like it's like, I don't know. This is like so lame. Like it's probably something I saw on like Tumblr or like Facebook and like, or like MySpace and like when I was like in 8th grade. But like, I feel like, okay, it's not this, but you know, when it's like, you know, that thing that's like, oh, like I need like a new heart, like a heart donation, like blah, blah, blah. And then she like wakes up from her surgery and she's like, wait, where's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he gave you the heart. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, that's like beside the point. I don't know. I just started thinking about that. But I remember like in either like MySpace days or like Tumblr days, I would see like a very like cliche post. And like, I don't know if anyone else knows what I'm talking about, but it would be like, oh, like if he gives you like butterflies, like that's like your nervous system being all nervous, like you should be with the person that like makes you comfortable or whatever. And I low-key feel like there's some truth to that because like I don't know, like sometimes like last night I was like really anxious just in general and like I felt it's because I'm gonna start my period, but like I felt it in my stomach. I was like, my stomach feels nervous, like my head doesn't feel nervous, my stomach feels nervous. And I'm like, I feel like if when you're anxious, it's like your stomach. And yeah, butterflies are like an exciting thing. But I feel like if you're like with someone for like 2 years and you have butterflies,
I feel like butterflies are more in your heart too, more than your stomach.
Yeah, so like I feel like if it's like in your stomach, I feel like that's like kind of weird. So it's like you should be with someone who you feel comfortable with and that you can like talk about things right away. I feel like we're kind of veering off and just like talking about who you should be with because I think what you're talking about is a more like general societal issue. And I think what you're saying is like that there are millions of women who have like written about and talked about how like having kids and getting married like puts this like huge burden and expectation, all these things on them. And I think at the end of the day, like you cannot control how people are going to see you in many ways. Like for example, I didn't take Jack's last name because like, why would I do that? I already have my own last name. I love my last name. Like I identify as Alex Piscatelli. Like I feel very strongly. I've literally since I was little, I'm like, why would I take someone's last name? I love my last name. Like I was like 8 saying that because I genuinely have always felt that way. And luckily I've always had like parents that have like encouraged that as well. And so like I
didn't care.
Yeah, and you didn't care if I took your last name or not. Actually you prefer that I kept mine.
I've had I mean, call it radical or not, but I've had that thought process since I was perpetually single.
Yeah.
Like I was like, not like, why would that happen? I mean, I feel like that just sounds so like too much admin.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of admin. And then it's like, it's nice to have your own. And then like our kids, and this is just such an example of just like one thing, but our kids are going to have both of our last names. Cause like, hello, they're both of our kids. Like, yeah.
And both Alex and I are very stubborn in loving our last names.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I think in many ways it's like, so we are not going to have kids. I am 29.75. Jack is 29.5 at the moment, or about to be. Yeah, your half birthday is next month.
What are we going to do?
Well, it's my graduation. I already had to postpone my birthday for my graduation. We're not celebrating your half birthday.
Yeah, we are.
I'm sorry. And so,
well, my celebration is having like a beer on the beach.
Well, okay, we can do that then, I suppose. But what was I just saying? Oh, like I don't feel like I've always known I wanted to have kids like later. I don't want kids till I'm like I feel like 37, 38 sounds nice. We'll see how it goes. But like I've never been someone who wanted kids early too. And I think, and obviously this is all such personal preference. So I'm not trying to say anything's right, anything's wrong, nothing like that. However, I think it's like really important for me in particular to feel like I have a really well-established identity of myself and who I am before I have kids. Like, I feel like I need to be able to be like independent and like do all these things and define myself.
Yeah.
Because like we're still like my research literally talks about how like till you're 30, even like 31, 32, like you're in quote emerging adulthood. Like our emerging adulthood implies like you're still growing up and like discovering who you are. And I'm like, I don't want a kid to F that up. Like I don't want like a kid to mess up with who I am. I want to be well defined. And so I think there's so many women, especially now, who are having kids and who are doing it later and who already know who they are and who they want to be and like how they want to be defined by others, like in society. And I think a lot of times I think when you have a kid, like being a mother is your identity because yes, people will put that on you, but also like you can put that on yourself because like that's nice. Like you probably want that once you are at that point.
It's a big thing in general. I mean, it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, like the same way that a father should have that identity.
They should, exactly. But
it's
a lot of times they
don't
have
that identity as a mother, as long as the father also has that identity as well.
Right. And so that's two issues, right? It's one, society doesn't look at fathers as like, oh, they're a father and that's like their identity. And a lot of fathers probably don't want to be defined by that either. So it's like a twofold thing. It's like these are the weird men that we're dealing with and the weird like society that we're dealing with. But I just think there's so many millions, as you mentioned, like women who regret getting married or regret having kids. But like, what about the millions of women that do exist that are so happy they did? Because like, that's just as true and just as valid. Mm-hmm. And so like, I think it's important to discuss all of these things. Like, it's so important to discuss all of these things. But like, I think you ultimately have to decide what you want and not what you think society will define you as or whatever. Because like, I know this is very different, but it's like, oh, why would I have kids if one day I'd die or one day they could die? You know what I mean? But it's like,
some people think like that.
Some people think like that, and that's fine. But like, yeah, of course, like that's an inevitability. Like that is going to exist. That is just what it is. Life is death, you know? But like, if what you truly want is a kid, like you can't let that stop you. Like you can't let the idea of that stop you. Just like if you want kids, but you're like, oh, but what will society define me as? Or like, what will my life be like with a kid? But like, if you want a kid, like the what ifs, I don't know. I just think you can weigh those, but you can't let it define. You can't let the what ifs define. You have to let the what you want define what you want.
We can't talk from experience because we don't have kids,
right.
But I feel like in many ways those fears are like, I feel like you just won't care about that judgment that society puts on you once you're actually living that situation.
Yeah. Or maybe you will care, but like you'll talk about it with people around you, and hopefully you can talk about it with, if you marry this boyfriend you're with right now, like hopefully, like my hope for you is that you wrote this long question to me and I'm so grateful for it. And I hope you are having conversations with this boyfriend. Like I think like having strong relationships around you that can help like redefine what like, because yes, society is gonna do its society thing, you know what I mean? But like, if you are making your own community that like doesn't see it that way, I think you'll feel so much more empowered. And yeah, I think it can be hard because like right now, I mean, I don't know if you know people with kids or you're like close to anybody with kids and they all kind of seem unhappy or like what the vibe is. But like, I think it'll also change when people around us start having kids and you like the way that they're handling everything while having kids. Because yeah, kids are going to be hard. It'll probably be your identity. Like, so do it at a time that feels right for you if you're going to do it. And like you'll be able to take that challenge on and you'll be able to continue to have these conversations and like, yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think it's probably coming from a conversation of, I don't know if this is a jump to say, but having those fears tells you that while you would probably be a great mother, be a great parent.
Yeah.
Those anxieties tell you that you need some time to think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you're not gonna have kids today.
Right.
You're not gonna have kids today.
Right.
So don't worry about it.
Right. You're not even married yet. But you should have these
conversations now, and talk about it and hone that so that when the time does come that you're ready. Because otherwise, as we see with unaddressed feelings, like like in something very bad is going to happen,
right,
those feelings come to fruition in
right.
other ways. If you don't talk about it.
Did she even want kids? And I feel like he assumed they were going to have kids too. Like I can't remember, but I feel like that was part of it.
She was like, what if the baby's like 12 pounds and kills me?
Yeah. They were talking about that.
She asked that,
they
what
were
if the baby
talking
kills
about
me?
that.
And then he says, it's going to be like a little baby. Like, and he like, but
and it's like, that's not realistic. So it's like when our fears are quelled by like fantasies, when our fears are quelled by like literally fake like platitudes, like it's like that's not going to help. You are going to be helped by having conversations like this and talking with parents around you and talking with just like people around you in general to help you to help quell your fears. Like talk about this with your boyfriend, talk about this with your friends, talk about this with, if your mom's alive, like talk about it with your mom, like talk about it with different people like that. I think that's the way to help understand and quell those fears. And you know what? Maybe this will still be scary for you, but like I think everything's scary. Yeah. Everything's scary. Like even just the fact that like you talk about marriage, but even just the fact that you're in a partnership in general, like already has certain connotations and certain expectations on it, right? And you're saying you do see forever with this person, like you're already defying what like generations of women have had to go through where they don't like the person they're with.
I mean, if you're in your mid-20s 100 years ago, you would have had 2 kids by now.
Right, exactly.
3, 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked your ear off, but I hope this is helpful, and thank you for asking this question. If anyone has an advice question for next week's episode, you can ask anonymously at bit.ly/KSFS advice. Okay, Jack, do you have any last words for your very special episode?
This was great. I love talking.
Yay. Okay, good. Okay, well, love you all. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of Grief Support Group. We will see you next week. Goodbye. And we're going to leave you off with the song Surf by Mac Miller, which was me and Jack's first dance song at our wedding. Yay. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.